Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. We are just ironing out a couple of technical difficulties, but we are here, we are live, and we are excited to get into this conversation about the inner utopia, storytelling for sustainable change. My name is Nerissa Street. I am the founder of Juneteenth for Joy. This is our third annual Juneteenth for Joy festival. This year at our festival, we're undertaking an innovative project. And the innovative project, which has been graciously supported by the Community Foundation of Broward, with the following funds: the Helen and Frank Stoikov Charitable Endowment Fund, the Louise and Rudy Dill Charitable Fund, and the Marian Alex McKenzie Community Impact Fund. We're very grateful for them for giving us a seed grant to start this project. Also supported by the Broward County Cultural Division, Happy Homes, Florida Real Estate, the Rabbit Hole, Elevated Vegan Cuisine, Be Your Own Answer Podcast, Nikki Lopez Creative, A Better PR, and Juneteenth for Joy is a fiscally sponsored project of the Center for Social Change. So we're very grateful to all of those collaborators who understand that a new world requires new things. So we are this year undertaking a storytelling project called Building Black Utopias, transforming Redlines into green spaces. And because of that, we're doing a series of community conversations around the project. I have with me Andriana Mereuta, who also goes by Andy, and she's a visual storyteller. So we're going to be talking about building an inner utopia, which is really the philosophy behind this project, and how, when you're building that inner utopia, you can then take on storytelling for sustainable change in your outer world. So welcome, Andy. How are you?
Hi, Neri. Good to be here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for making time to be with us this evening. I'm doing amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. So what we're doing today is really talking about what it takes to build this sense of resilience on the inside. That's the basis for joy, right? And so I wanted to chat with you, number one, because you're one of our team members who's helping guide the visuals, the actual visuals of the people there. You are an amazing visual storyteller, and we've collaborated on a project before, but this is a really special project, and I'm grateful to have you. So I want you to tell us a little bit about how you became a visual storyteller.
Um, First of all, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity and for the opportunity to be part of this beautiful project. Um, the way I got into storytelling was, I think, when I first mm, realize the power of storytelling or stories through visuals, namely photography, in my own experience when I was looking through books and magazines with amazing emotional and visual impact. One of those photographers who had a great influence on me was Sebastião Salgado, whose work is just out of this world, very intimate, very deep. And then later, I was looking through a lot of stories at the National Geographic, um, in National Geographic publications. So slowly, I realized the power of story and how much we can communicate visually, and in that way, we can actually communicate at a global level. Because we are all human, we all respond the same way emotionally. And if one can achieve that, I believe it's it's a level of mastery that requires to be a good communicator through visuals. Probably by writing as well. I'm not limiting this to visuals only, but there are many tools to reach the same goal.
So, how have you found? I mean, I love that you call out a mentor immediately, and I think a lot of people think that we just kind of create these things in a vacuum and don't realize how other people's influence guides us. What other mentors have you had in visual storytelling?
Well, first, I want to say that whatever I realized in my life so far was only with and by having great influence and support from people who are better than me, smarter than me, more advanced than me. So I am truly a believer in the fact that we need to surround ourselves with people who we can learn from, as well as surround ourselves with people who can learn from us. But going back to your question, some other mentors in my life are National Geographic photographers who I had the honor to work alongside, and that's Erica Larson, Lynn Johnson, Dennis Dimmick, who was an editor at National Geographic. These are people who I constantly draw from and learn from, and I'm in constant contact with them, even after a particular experience came to a close, to an end. And aside from that, I take inspiration not only from photography. I surround myself with people like you, for example, who really we get to be inspired and learn from so many people. And I believe that we create from the place of who we are. And as much as we develop our character and our personality, our heart, as much as we cultivate that inner life, the more we start creating from a deeper place, and perhaps something else steps in. There's a mystery that comes through, and we don't create from the mind. There is something that moves through us, and other things become important. And I believe that's where we start connecting with other people and can get to deeper stories. There's so much happening in storytelling. But I don't know, do you want me to go on?
Yes. Sure.
So I believe that when we are in face of people, as we are doing this work as storytellers, there is something magical that happens. First of all, we come in front of the other person with everything that we are, and hopefully they come to this place to meet us with the whole of who they are.
Yes.
And then we create a safe space in which we can meet, and we get to share, we get to open up. It's a tremendous honor to have that opportunity, because when someone truly listens to us, we get to reveal who we are in the face of the other.
Yes.
That's an opportunity to heal certain things that may be, given that it's a safe space in which we can do so, but we can really share things that maybe we never shared before. We get to release certain things that we couldn't do that before. So, and as a result, both people are enriched by that experience, because the listener is not indifferent. It touches him or her. We change, we shift, and something beautiful comes out of it. So it's not only the end result as a photograph or a written text. It's the experience that we share. That's what is the prize of this exchange, and that's what I think storytelling has the power to do.
That's one of the things that I found so beautiful in hearing the stories that are in these neighborhoods. So, what you touched on, which is something that I found is the most amazing part of doing this kind of work, true work, um, not narrative, but documentary, nonfiction, is that we, as the storytellers, get every time to create some sort of, as you call it, mystery. I like to call it sacred space, um, so that the people can pour themselves in a way that is unfiltered and pure. And I think that the purity of that, when we then get to witness that, and there's a process in Black spiritual circles called witnessing, right? And it's something where, you know, there somebody has had some sort of transformation, and there's even a song, something happened and now I know. um, when you're in the face of other people and something happens to you and someone witnesses it, both people are changed. So this beautiful work that we're undertaking, where we get to sit in front of people and deeply listen and allow them to just be, has been such a joy. While I've been doing this project, so for those who are not completely familiar with the project, what we're doing is we're going into the 8 historic Black neighborhoods in Broward County and asking people to tell us about their joy, tell us about where they play, tell us what gives them satisfaction and fulfillment, tell us about the people that they love, tell us about the things that they love, the businesses they frequent. And the purpose of that is building a Black utopia first on the inside with all of us. In the sharing of those stories, I've been changed. My perception of these places that are right in my backyard has been changed, and the the joy that people have in being truly listened to, like you talked about, Andy. Um, One of our, and Andy, we've worked together on another documentary project I have as well, and the the way in which people enter the space and then leave the space. So, so I'd like us to talk about something else that we both share, and that is this mindful practice. Part of the conversation around building Black utopias is building an inner sense of resilience so that we can build an outer beautiful environment. So I'd love for you to talk about one of the things that you didn't quite share in the beginning, is that you are a trained mindfulness facilitator. So can you talk about how that has informed your storytelling? I know for me, being a Center for Mind Body Medicine practitioner, it has grounded me in an amazing way. So I'd like you to talk about how your training in mindfulness now informs your visual storytelling.
That's a beautiful question, Erin. Thank you. Well, in reality, it's the same thing. As I said in the beginning, we all create from the place of who we are, and it's all related. In mindfulness, we train to sit down and close our eyes and sit with our thoughts, with our emotions, with body aches, with everything that shows up, the reality of our life, right? And we train to sit with it um, with a kind of awareness that is not um, aimed at changing anything necessarily, but just pure awareness and pure witnessing, as you were describing earlier. And also bringing a kind of non-judgmental attitude to it. In other words, a compassion, a sense of compassion to the human side of who we are. And I believe that in storytelling, that's what we do in the best case, right? At least we try to show up when we meet other people to bring that same attitude into that safe space, to create a safe space, to sit with whatever emotions come up, to allow the person to express whatever he or she feels or thinks, and not have that judgment, because people feel it. And what we all want is to be seen and to be accepted just as we are. And sometimes it's hard to do it with ourselves. It's harder than with others. But in training ourselves to do it, we show up and we're able to sit with another, and then they are able to sit with us because they are seen and understood. So I feel in reality, it's the same thing. We do the same thing, but when we do it mindfully, that exchange is so much more rich and authentic. Yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but I also wanted to complete a little bit what you were sharing earlier. By spending time with people and listening to their story, because in reality, they are the storytellers, right? And we're just taking their story, and by understanding it more correctly, by spending that time with awareness and compassion with them, we are able to bring back a more authentic story back to other people and share it. So that's how mindfulness really informs us, and compassion as well, to be better at it. Yeah, and we are storytellers not just by training. We always tell stories, all of us.
Right.
We tell stories in our mind all the time. And storytelling has been around since humanities. So, it's the most ancient form of communication, or right, that brought us closer and created communities. So it's always with us. The question is, how do we change that narrative so it serves us and not hinders us?
Right. And I part of the practice that we're doing with this particular project is stepping into the community, giving the community the tools to both speak their story and change it. So what I am thrilled about with this is being able to partner with people like yourself and our other team members who get it, who have been practicing the changing the narrative of ourselves first. And so I wanted to really get that story out there, that we're coming into this project, we're not stepping into the project and saying this is what a utopia is, with our own ideas and with our own concepts and with our own stories, right? Because we have our own narratives. We're stepping into the neighborhoods that we're going into, and we're saying, tell us the story.
Yes.
And so the ability, and some of you all who have been on the team and have watched our videos, our interviews, everybody, compliments our process and says to me, I love the fact that you let the people just speak, and I think that's the thing, going back to the deep listening. How much do we listen to ourselves? How much do we think a thought and then replace it with another thought because we didn't like it? How much do we think a thought and criticize the thought we're thinking. And then how much do we then take that practice out into the world? And we don't realize, as people in cultural work, as social practitioners, if we're not mindful of our own interesting story, I'll just say it that way, of our own story, of our own bias, of our own trauma, we then take that identity into our work and we don't listen. So I would love to hear from you. What's been one of the most nourishing stories you've ever had the opportunity to tell?
I love the playfulness in your in your question. um, the most nourishing. I think it's the developing story about my country that I'm working on since 2019. But in a way, all the stories that I'm working with, I try to put the same heart in. But this project really takes me a little deeper because it's my home, my story. And as we know, and we spoke about it earlier, that's the place where I get more triggered and it's harder. Um, so, but that's the place where we need to do a little more work in order to push through and get to the other side. So, yeah, it's very rewarding because I get to tell the story of my people and to honor the heritage that is behind me, right? Or I get to be part of. I get to honor my family and myself, I guess, by doing that, and that's the selfish part of it. But what can we do without ego, right? We need it too.
Well, and something that I say to a lot of people a lot of times in the workshops I do, good people need to be more selfish, right? If you're a good person, then when you're selfish, nourishing you nourishes your community. So I think it's a good idea to be selfish and in the fact that you have a big heart around it. The good work doesn't get done if we're continually serving something other than what our heart is. So be okay with being selfish.
Yeah, I say selfish, but in reality is authenticity. You have to own your story. You have to own your to have that autonomy, right? And to be true to yourself. Like this is something I feel in my heart I need to do. And so you have to honor that. If you don't, then it starts um, tugging at you and say, "Hey, listen, you need to do this. Why not listening?" So it's gonna do that until either we numb ourselves or we're gonna listen. So I say selfish, but in reality is honoring your path and what is given to you to do.
Awesome. So one of the questions that I have, and then we'll wrap, but I really appreciate the time that you're taking. You can see Andriana in action on Sunday, June 19th. She's going to be doing our live in-person visuals. So she'll be photographing along with Orit, who is one of our other photographers there as well. We encourage you to, when you come, we encourage you to allow yourself to be listened to. We encourage you to enjoy the fun things that we're having. We're going to have water activities. We're going to have meditation, beachside meditation, but we're definitely going to have fun. There's going to be some wonderful music and some brunch bites from the Rabbit Hole and some other wonderful activities that are inspired by the stories. So I encourage you to connect and engage with Andy. Um, so, what's your idea of a utopia?
I think to me, utopia is the same as enlightenment. As it's a very big word. It's an ideal, um, but it's something we can aspire to without losing sight of being here now and accepting what is and how we are in any given moment. Um, so, right, in enlightenment, we try to be this non-attached and dwell somewhere in bliss, and this is what we know about enlightenment. Um, but in reality, I believe enlightenment happens in small increments and moments that they come as an insight, and then they vanish and they go and we forget about it, and then it may come again, and then it may go away again. So I see utopia as these little opportunities that we can build whenever we can, and that's enough. That's good enough.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
Building Black Utopias, we will be doing it together. And one of the reasons, and I want to be very transparent about this to our audience, if you come to June 19th or you participate in the storytelling after June 19th, you're going to see that my team looks like me, and my team also looks like Andy, and my team looks like other people as well. And one of the reasons I want us to be very clear about that is Building Black Utopias first starts with people like me speaking about what it is that we want in our ideal environment. But we also need allies. And we need allies who understand that our utopia is the world's utopia. When one of us is safe, all of us are safe. When one of us is joyful, all of us are free. So I'm very, very grateful, Andy, for you catching the vision, supporting the work. I'm very grateful for your friendship as well. We've been walking together in mindfulness. You started absolutely before I did, and your work is
Mindful. What you talking about?
hey, you know what? So, but yeah, the work has been amazing. We both love to work with kids. So she's doing storytelling in Moldova with children. I'm doing storytelling with children here in the U.S. And it has been an absolute joy to walk with you in this evolution of spirit and of heart. So come, everyone. Join us on Sunday, June 19th. Start off your Sunday with us. We'll be at the beach. There'll be wonderful water activities. There'll be some beachside meditation. There's a couple of other fun activities as well. You'll be interacting and engaging with a site-specific installation. We'll have something for you to take home, and you'll have some great brunch bites by the elevated food of the rabbit hole. So we encourage you to join us. If you haven't registered already, please register at juneteenthforjoy.com. We really need you to register so that the nice people who are providing the brunch bites have an idea of how much food to provide. We are in a private pavilion, so you need to register so you know which pavilion to come to. So we're in a private pavilion, beautiful space right on the water. The parking is literally, you step out of your car and you're stepping into the, like, literally there's sand in the parking lot. So you're 5 steps away from the beach where we're parked, and we can't wait to see you. So starts at 10 a.m., ends at noon. We encourage you to get there early because there's the entrance, there's one way in and one way out. And that's all that we've got. So if somebody wants to find you, Andriana Mereuta, where can we
Love
find
that pronunciation. Good. Well, you can find me on Instagram. It's my first name dot my last name, and maybe yeah, Andriana dot Mereuta, and on Facebook, Andriana Mereuta, and my website if you're interested in photography, andrianamereuta.com.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you, everyone. So share, like, invite other people. It promises to be a very beautiful time. It's free. You just have to pay park admission, and we ask you to be patient as you're going through the park admission. The park rangers are going to be doing the best that they can, but we encourage you to get there by 9:30 so that you can get through the admission and land at our space at 10. So. Thank you so much. Have a
thank you so
lovely.
much. And I just wanted to tell everybody that everyone on the team that I know of, everyone in the community of practice that we are part of, are just incredible people. I promise you, with my hand on my heart, that you're going to have a fabulous time. And I believe you'll join us to come meditate with us every Sunday because it's just that amazing. So please come and let's get to know each other closer.
Thank you.
Thank you.